that we're going to be doing in the evening. They are deeply healing practices. And that, of course, is something that we're all doing all of the time, whether we have a physical condition, stress, a difficult or confused relationship issue. This is a part of our being human. And so today we're going to actually do a very strong neurosomatic experience. And of course, all the research in the literature is saying that neurosomatic experiences are ones we can truly use to inspire the mind, to change the brain for the better. To inspire the mind, to change the brain for the better. And so I'm going to be going through this 4-step process called HEAL. There's a little bit of writing here. We'll talk about it just for a moment briefly, but you're really deep intellectualizing it is not actually particularly helpful. Again, we're going to be working towards understanding this from a more somatic place. And I'm going to try to make it smaller with the hope that maybe you can see that better. But this is the 4-step process for HEAL. I'm only going to say a little because the practice is more important. The HEAL acronym, which Rick Hanson came up with, actually stands for have, the H is for have a positive experience, recollecting a positive moment. And from that positive moment, we're going to try to, again, as was identified in the resilience work, trying to turn a positive moment into a lasting trait, to strengthen, to invite patience, perseverance, wisdom, open-heartedness, compassion, kindness, joy, equanimity, all of these beautiful aspects of our humanness that we know help us contribute to being with our world and in our world with whatever conditions happen to be present. And so have a positive experience is the first part of the practice that we're going to work with. And then we're going to enrich the experience. And that's the E in HEAL. And what that actually means is that we're going to see if we can take it from actually a passing thought, memory, experience, and actually drop it down into the soma, into the body experience, and actually begin to enrich. And then a further part of that is actually absorb it, to actually get it down into what we call the marrow of our experience. And we may or may not do, depending on my sense of the group, the step 4 is actually link this positive experience to then the becoming positive trait towards a negative experience. Like, how do I bring this positive energy now to a potentially unpleasant or negative experience? That's its final stage. Sometimes we're not ready to take the positive experience because it's yet remains a passing experience, not yet has become a trait specific. And then we really shouldn't work towards how to link these positive and negatives together. So we'll see, whether we get that far or not. I'll decide as we do the practice. So what you get to do now, of course, because here we are at a little after 8 on a Monday evening, you get to turn off your video, you get to lay back, you get to turn on the candles if that feels good to you, and truly settle in. And this is the beginning of our cultivating these experiences. We want to turn these into positive experiences. And the best way that I know how to invite a positive experience, by the way, is to invite one in the present moment. This is actually preferred to simply think about a positive experience, which is not as effective. It's much harder to soak in the good. We know for sure if we can't enliven, embody, and actually hold in the mind and body a sense of the positive, though passing experience. We want to internalize that. So finding a comfortable posture to begin, and I'm going to check to make sure everybody's settled in. It looks like I've got everybody doing just the right work there. Beautiful. And we begin all practices and this practice by remembering the aspirations and intentions that brought you to this formal practice this evening, because this by itself is a positive trait. Recollecting, what was it that brought you to this practice this evening? It might have been awareness that you needed some resourcing and you took a step in a positive direction. It might have been that you didn't practice today and decided, well, here's an opportunity to get my 20 or 10 or 5 breaths, whatever your practice is, an opportunity to do this in community, in connection, with guidance and support. This is a positive attribute. There's a lot of things you could be doing right now that you made the choice to participate in cultivating not only good for you, but potentially you and others, is understood to be a pro-social, positive experience that will lead to also have positive consequences. May this practice to this evening be of benefit. May it be so for ourselves, for those we care about, for those who care for us, that we might continue and grow. Just seeing if you can begin to notice the natural flow of the breath in the body. Nothing special. And then offer yourself some particularly nourishing, enriching breaths. So breathing in deeply when that feels right for you as best you can. Breathing in, just filling, fueling, and nourishing the body. And then as we release, seeing if we can let go of any extra tension, maybe particularly negatively believed thoughts, limiting believed thoughts. See if we can create a more neutral, objective field. And often the way we can do this best is to begin to soften and relax the body. Not trying to turn anything on or off in the mind at all, but just directing the attention gently, as lovingly, as tenderly, as we can towards our own bodies lying here. Breathing in, feeling the rising, expanding. On the out breath, allowing the release, the settling, softening of this animal body. And really using the breath in these few moments to enjoy the breath, to feel the vitality and aliveness of the breath. The present moment nature of this breath. And rather than tighten up around a breath spot, we're going to see if we can sense that movement, that flow in as much of the body as we can. So maybe the whole breathscape, expanding and settling. And if the body is feeling particularly tender, achy, difficult, tired, negative experience with the body, we can actually place the attention then in the surround, just around the body, in the open space in which the body expands, opens, connects, and in which the body then softens and stills. For some people, it may be too vulnerable or difficult to stay in the breathscape area at all. And this then is an opportunity to feel the body as it's resting then, for example, against the softened surface. And so just feeling the way the body weights, settles and softens into the surface and the earth. And seeing if you can enjoy the breath enough to invite a gentle smile. The beauty, the connection, the belonging of being alive. No matter what else is happening. Feeling the body begin to rest, the mind begin to settle slowly. No rush. And then I'd like you to see if you can enter into the body and find a place here where you're having a positive experience. We're going to see if we can actually grow that positive passing moment, a positive experience in the body. Is it maybe the release in the out breath? The very fact that you have a soft surface in which to connect the body. Maybe the ability to hear these teachings and this practice, and maybe a feeling of connection or gratitude to oneself, to others. Some present moment experience. We're going to see if we can't drink it in, absorb, immerse, enrich the experience. But we have to activate the positive first. That means recognize something positive. Maybe you're in a warm space. Maybe you're in a space with someone who cares about you. Maybe there's a pet or an animal that you enjoy or love nearby. Finding that positive, though passing experience, we're going to hang on to it for a few extra breaths. And so I'll just use myself as an example. Of course, you're not having my experience at all. It's best to have your own, most important. I'm just noticing that as I'm sitting upright in a chair, I'm very fortunate to feel no particular aches or distress in the back. I've had a little backache the last few days, and today there is no particular distress or tightness there. I'm really noticing the enjoyment that I feel and the gratitude that I feel at not having that particular distress. Very small, passing positive experience. Maybe you have a warm blanket. Maybe there's a cool breeze that you're enjoying. We're going to note the experience, recognize it, and then we're going to enrich it. See if we can really take that in with several extra breaths, turning that passing experience into a more lasting one. Seeing if we can sustain the enjoyment, the sense of safety or protection, the sense of being cared about or nourished. We're going to see if we can use the full 5 sense doors to enrich the experience. As you're enjoying this moment and this positive passing experience, what are you seeing? Maybe a particular image comes to mind, a warm, glowing light, for example, a resting place. Sometimes in the Tibetan tradition, we place a jewel, a radiant jewel in the heart space, in the treasure chest of the heart. Maybe the image of a lotus light blooming in the mind or the heart. See if we can fully enrich, not only with direct experience, but imagery is welcome here. breathing it in. And the image that just magically came to mind, it's not useful to try to construct too much, was like a little gold dust sprinkling down on my back. And as it touched my back, it became a very gentle massage. Breathing that in. And then the next step is the absorb, and we're going to allow this experience now to move beyond a particular point in the body, to move into the whole body. And this is where we can imagine that light, that gentle touch, that positive felt sense move throughout the body, breathing it, distributing it, radiating it throughout. So I'm going to let that back sense begin to move around to the front, for example. Breathing into the whole torso, this sense of ease. And if you had, for example, a warm, glowing light, see if we can move the light from one source into the whole body. Letting it touch particular organs. By placing your attention there. I brought it around to the front. I'm just letting myself breathe it in now through the front of the body. And then letting it begin to radiate, permeate throughout the torso, for me, into the limbs, into other parts of the body. Feeling its warmth, its glow, its gentleness, its care. And soaking it in as we go. I'm moving that warmth, that sense of care into my arms, into my legs and seat. Let it touch whatever part of the body is most in need. I'm offering this positive experience all the way down the legs into my feet. My feet were actually hurting today. I was on a hike, trying some new shoes and a little tender. And can I let this experience really permeate into the feet? Can you let it permeate into the body that's feeling maybe tender or vulnerable? And if it feels like too much, that's no problem at all. Just back it up a little bit. Touching the parts of the body that can absorb this positive experience. Making sure you go upwards as well. I was going down first, and I'm going to go back up the body. Seeing if you can touch into the whole body. Taking your time. Breathing it in, absorbing it in each part. Soaking in the good. Remember to refresh the positive thoughts. It feels good to be cared about. We want to move it from simply a thought to that positive feeling in the body. See if you can soften the body so that we can even more completely receive, absorb, melt into. And then I'd like you to come up with maybe a word or words to help you recollect this positive experience. One is just noticing that a positive experience has happened. Remember, the second is enriching it, absorbing it, and holding it for at least 10 to 20 seconds. Enlivening it, magnifying it with other experience, hearing, smelling, other positives. Soaking it in like a sponge. Let it touch every cell. Oxygenating, hydrating, energizing, soothing. Balancing, offering what is needed. Feeling the space, the warmth, the goodness in you and around you. Healing. And what we'll practice before we move on is seeing if we can drop back into a part of the body that has just a mild or gentle tension or tightness. Seeing if we can offer this healing salve, this radiant goodness, this good heart to that part of the body. Can we invite this positive experience right to a part of the body that's got a little more limitation, like I did my feet? This is an attending and attuning, offering oneself lovingly what is needed. Then bringing that gold dust down to my feet. Along with my kind and gentle attention. Continuing to recollect that positive experience, generating more good. And then I'd like you to do this one more time, not beginning right now in the body, but recollecting a moment from today that was a positive experience for you. recollecting a moment in the day, a moment of gratitude or strength, maybe a moment of patience or kindness, connection, maybe a moment of joy or ease. Maybe a moment of accomplishment, completing a task, getting a certain result or something that you've worked on that's been brought to completion. And then now that we have the positive experience from the day, we're going to go through the same 4 steps. So recollecting that positive experience, and remember, calling it to mind as vividly, as actively as we can. Recollecting the details of the experience. And remember, we can place any visualizations that help support that positive experience. I'm just picturing the smile on my face. It was a moment of joy. And then I'm dropping into the body, as I'm going to invite you to do. Drop into the body and make contact with how it felt in the body in this moment of this positive experience. I can feel the lightness in the chest and the heart, or kind of release. And a smile. A little belly softening. A little shoulder release as I'm recollecting this. And if there are no particular positive experiences, you can visualize them. For growing the positive. Enriching it as best we can. And remember, this is the installing phase and function of this practice. We're really trying to get the amygdala, the brainstem, and the prefrontal all to recollect this so that we can call on it in times of need. Remembering this positive experience. Soaking in the good. Remembering that this is as good or better than taking any good medicine. We're offering the medicine of our own goodness, our own positive traits, our own positive experiences to ourselves. Soaking them in. We may think of other moments then in the absorbing phase where we felt similarly, where we had other positive experiences somewhat like this, maybe other moments of joy. since joy was my positive experience. Other moments of joy, people I have shared joy with. Magnifying this experience as best you can. Breathing it in and breathing it out and distributing that positive sense throughout the whole body. Feeling the experience completely, all the way down to the toes, all the way up to the nose and beyond, and then deep within the body. Really letting it deepen, penetrate beyond the skin surface, all the way down to the marrow. Remembering a warm golden light, some other visualization that can help you remember, recollect, and absorb this experience. We're actually linking now the positive with these visualizations. And remember, we can also use words. May I take great joy at my good fortune. In this moment. May I remember my capacity for ease, for safety, for patience or strength, whatever it is. And as we are absorbing it and linking it then to other positives, if it feels right for you, but only if you feel sufficiently resourced for this, we can actually bring this positive experience to a less positive experience, let's say a neutral experience, or even a negative one if you're feeling sufficiently abundant. And so really I'm feeling pretty well resourced. I'm bringing this moment of joy to a moment of anger. I'm remembering that even in a moment of anger, the thing for which I was joyful was also available. It's not to replace, it's not to deny, it's not to minimize the negative experience, but to say, even then, when I was experiencing a sense of deficiency or not enoughness, or the actual potential for this joy was actually also there. We're just linking, it's called pairing, begins to transmute slowly this negative experience. And so another example would be, I might be recollecting a pleasant moment with an animal. I might recollect another moment where my experience with an animal was not so pleasant, and really holding them together in a certain kind of equanimity. It's not just negative. Even when there's been unpleasant experiences, there have also been pleasant ones. And not to become biased or overvalenced in our negativity bias. And often we can slightly neutralize the grip and the hold on a negative experience by remembering also our direct experience of a positive, especially if they're related. And if that doesn't feel right, we just simply continue to absorb, to remember, to enrich, and to link the positive experience with other positives. Soaking in the good. And we can always recollect our very intention and aspiration to remember our blessings, to remember the goodness in this life, to remember love. And for the last few moments, simply resting in those positive experiences, whichever come to mind, letting them nourish, nurture, heal. Seeing if you can really breathe it in. Maybe you're noticing a positive moment of feeling restful, sensing the quiet, feeling connected to one's own goodness. Allowing the positive experiences in the body as best you can. Turning towards the good. The good in you, the good around you. And may we dedicate the benefits of this practice today and all its merits. May we offer this first to ourselves and wish to be happy, safe, well. And then to offer it to others just like me who feel this too, whatever it is. May we all be happy, truly happy. May we all be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May we take great joy at our good fortune and be joyful and wish for the good fortune of others. May we rest and dwell in the refuge of our own good hearts, free from affliction. And may this practice today contribute. This day is good. Let this day be done. So be it. So remembering the HEAL acronym, have a positive experience, enrich it, stay with it at least 10, 20 seconds. We actually know the research says. Continue to picture, feel, sense, see, fill the mind, and nourish yourself with it, and then absorb it, allowing it to sink you as you sink into it. Let it become a whole part of you rather than simply a thought. And that means including the experience in the whole body. And then that linking the positive first to other positives. I don't start with linking the positive to a negative. And then if that works for you, moving from the positives to include a negative experience and seeing if it can allow some space and room for that experience. I hope this was helpful in some way for you. If you have any questions, I'm happy to stay on and answer. anything you might have. We will have the recording for this. I will be including it for you if you'd like. Otherwise, I would really like you to have a restful, joyful, easeful, and healing evening. And I hope this practice was a benefit to you this evening. And enjoy. I'll let those of you who just wish to sign off quietly do so. If there are any questions, I'm happy to stay on for a moment and answer. In either case, have a wonderful evening. Blessings to you all. Good evening, everyone.